There we go. Almost. Still got to get through to the other side. So what we're going to start working on today is our rear suspension component here, the Yamaha monoshock. And I know I stated in one of the other episodes I still had to work on this pin. I got that cotter pin still stuck in there, which I'm going to drill out here soon. And I want to take this apart. However, I don't want to get rid of this sticker here. This is really cool. So I'm going to see if maybe I could just tape this off and put a bagger on the top here, and then I'll sandblast the rest of this. To take the top apart here, I'm going to crack this nut loose here at the top and get it past the threads. And I'm going to back off the secondary nut here, and then these little clamshells here at the top should be able to pop out, and then this whole spring should be able to come out through the top. So now I can repaint this spring and clean this all up and make it look really nice, but it's not really under tension. So once these come apart, I should be able to have something to work with. The bottom part of the monoshock assembly sandblasted. I got the sticker all taped up so we could preserve that, and I also taped a bag onto the top here because I don't want any sand getting into the strut assembly and wearing out that bushing prematurely. So it only took about a half hour, but it turned out really nice. Let's see if we could swap ends, and I'm going to put the bag on the other side, tape off the strut assembly where my thumb's at, see if we can clean up the upper part now. I wanted to do this part for a while, and this is trying to get that stinking cotter pin out of that stay pin for the monoshock, and got to drill the nice drill bit in it. We're going to see if we can finally get this thing out here. Tripping nice. There we go. Almost. Still got to get through to the other side. So we may have just broken off the drill bit inside the hole. So this became a little bit bigger of a project. But fortunately, I think on the other side here, it's actually loose, and I should be able to just pound this right out. We're going to put it in the vise and see if I can get this sucker out. Alright, crisis is averted. It just pounded right out, so fortunately that wasn't too big of a project. Alright, moving on. Alright, well hey, we finally get to have you in one of the videos this time.
Yeah. Yeah, back to work on the bike.
We got a ton of stuff here to put together. We got the frame all ready to go, we got the swing arm assembly, we have fork tubes, we got the monoshock. What I want to start off with is putting the monoshock together, get this rear swing arm hung, all the little attachments that go onto that, and then we're going to start moving our way to the front where the struts will go on in the triple tree.
Sounds good.
All right, let's put this monoshock together.
Yeah, let's put this together.
Yep, we got our carrier sleeve there.
Sleeve on.
Boy, that spring turned out good. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Looks like the paint's still wet.
Oh, you're going to need a hand with this part now.
Yeah.
We're going to take these silver keepers here. Now, you want me? You hold this. I'm going to push down on the spring. This is kind of a two-person job.
Oh yeah.
Then just jam them in there.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Oh.
That went together really easy.
Not nearly as bad as I thought.
No, no,
Actually,
it's not under a lot of tension because
kind of loose actually.
Well, what happens? Now we could take the top part. We'll get a crescent wrench, and then we're going to tighten all that down. And
okay, so you have
it's
this.
almost self-torquing whenever the
have
nut
that.
bottoms out. Now that puts the tension on the spring.
Gotcha. The nut's backed off. I see. Okay.
All right, so what you working on now?
Oh, we're just putting this chain guard in right now.
That one's a little bit chawed up. I'm going to have to find another one online. There was a big hoop that was on the bottom here that kind of hung down, but for now, it's going to work.
Yeah. And since I didn't take this off, how's this go?
It just fits right here in the indentations. I might have dropped it a little bit and
There we go. All right. Thank you. This one will swing arms off a little bit easier right now.
Well, I can't wait to just put the monoshock on. That's going to make half the look of the bike right now.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to go together fast. I have something that looks somewhat like a bike today.
Think we're going to have it ready for AMA Motorcycle Vintage Days?
I would hope. I would hope. Considering that's, what, 6 months away?
You know what? We could
7
have it
months?
built in 6 months, so long as there's nothing catastrophically wrong with the engine.
Oh.
That's my only main concern, which I think it's going to be fine. But this bike was parked, and I'm still trying to figure out why it was parked. And more than likely, it was from an engine issue. Probably they just left it sit outside and the carburetor's gunky.
Seems like it never took much with a small, cheap bike for people to cast it aside.
Because of the moment of truth, let's bolt the first component onto the frame. Make sure you get all the caps right.
We have 4 places for a cap and only 3 caps.
Yeah, because of the chain guard on the other side there's no room for a cap, so they only give you
As you
3.
can see right there.
Yeah,
Cap
we'll put a lot of grease on the end there.
Will not fit there.
Yeah. Is there enough grease on the inside? I put it on
so.
real thick, hoping that they're going to hold themselves on.
Seem to be sticking. See here.
Oh, that's not bad. Let's see how stiff it is going onto the mounting point.
I think we have enough grease.
Oh, never have too much grease.
Alright, let's see here.
Oh, it actually looks like it's staying. Oh, that's going to pop that cap off. I know it. Yep.
It's alright.
Let's see if I can lend a hand. Oh, it even sounds like it wants to go together. Oh, wow. That aluminum color goes nice with the black frame.
Oh, yeah. Nice contrast.
All right, this is going to be my favorite part just because I put so much work in the water shock. Let's see, this goes up through the top here, and then we got one major bolt that holds it all down. It's going to go like that. We'll just leave that loose for now. And then this is going to come up here. Ooh.
You want a hand?
I got her.
On this.
That's going to go right like that. Might have to use a little tippy tapper, but it's in place. Oh, look at that.
Alright. Looks nice.
I like how I preserved the sticker though. That's my favorite part.
Looks brand new.
It looks like so much just happened here, just with these few little components. Oh, I'm ready to ride. All right. Now's your moment to shine. Are you ready to help us?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to put the tank dampener on and the bolt that we refurbished. Wow, you must have done this before. Fine job. Fine job, young man. Nice work.
Alright.
What are you doing?
Now we're
Counting,
putting the,
counting bearings?
Yeah, over here counting balls. Getting ready to put the steering stem together. So
We'll see if my extension cord idea worked and see if we're missing any.
Yeah.
Put a thorough amount of grease on that, so all we have to do is just stick them on and then just push that little triple tree assembly up here into the stem.
Fun, monotonous work here. You know what? Something's magnetized here.
That might have been me. I picked them all up with a magnet.
They're jumping on there.
We got some grease here on the bottom to help hold the little bearing balls in place. I was missing a couple of them. Good thing they're about 177 caliber, so I had plenty in standby. So we're going to stick this up through the top. Hopefully I don't knock anything off. Oh, that fit together good. And we're going to put this keeper on top for all the upper bearings. Ooh, that slides nice with all the new grease packed in there. We got the cap that goes on top of here. That's just a dust cap. And now we have this goes on top. Alright, we'll tighten that down here in a little bit. But what goes on next is now the upper half of the triple tree. I was worried that with the paint on the inside of there, it wouldn't make it fit right, make it too tight. Oh, look at that. There it is. Alright, let's get these forks put on. Alright, so what I wanted to go over next is how to service some of these old fork assemblies. A lot of the Yamahas, this is very typical of the day. You got a drain plug on the bottom here, that's just taken out by a Phillips head screw. And on the top here, you can actually take out the guts and the internals of the fork. So this one, it just has like a little rubber keeper cap on it. Has a big old nut on the top here that's comes out with an Allen key, and I actually took that out ahead of time. And then I like to push down on this nut whenever I'm keep taking it apart. That way it doesn't booger up the last few threads, because these are under tension. These feel a tiny bit worn out. I might have to shim them a little bit with some washers. Okay, so that comes out. That's just your cap, and it's got a little rubber O-ring on there. Push down on the fork slightly. There's another little keeper. We have the stock factory spacer. And if we push down a little more, we have, this is your spring. Ooh. I'm gonna set that guy right there. Now that we got all the components out from inside here, whenever I'm servicing these, I kind of do it by ear. When there's not enough fluid in here, when you're actuating it, you can hear it. It makes noise whenever it's fully extended. Here it's sucking air. So what you do is you keep adding your fork fluid until it stops sucking air. That's how you know whenever it's full. I just use automatic transmission fluid. It's the same stuff except the fork oil just has anti-foaming properties. Let's see what that does. That actually sounds really good. I could just barely see the top of the assembly in there too. It'd help if I had a flashlight, but that's actually just about the perfect amount. I got it on the first try. All right, we'll stick this back together, and we're going to put this on the triple tree here. And I left the top nut loose. And I'm going to use these posts whenever they go inside with the fork tubes. That'll align the top with the bottom, and then we'll just tighten it down, and that'll be it. Let's get this last little bit put together here. We're getting kicked out of our spots. We only got a few minutes left. So we're just going to put the fork tubes in right now and just tighten them up, and that's going to be it. So I left the top of the triple tree here loose, and we're going to let the strut tower here self-center it. I already lubricated the inside of the parts where it slides in here just lightly with grease to help it go in. So that's going to go like that. And we'll just tighten a couple bolts here. Oh. We'll just tighten out. Let that hold it in place. That does make it a little front heavy.
A little bit.
I hope this is going to balance on like an engine stand, because there's nothing in the middle. The engine has to be there for...
Yeah, if you want, I can hold it a little bit.
It's okay. It's actually not tilting, but this second one it might. Hey, they're not bent. They're going in really nice and smooth. So you can tell if you got a bent fork tube, they don't go in the triple tree nice and easy. I've had a couple like that on my 250s. You got to put the triple tree together, and you're like, wait a minute. Why don't these fork tubes want to slide in nice and easy? I want to replace all these bolts later on in time, but right now that's it. All right, let me see if I can grab it, and we'll put it out in the middle of the floor. We'll take a look at it.
All right.
Let's see what we did today. Wow. That's a lot of work right there. A lot of wire wheeling and sandblasting.
Looks good. Nice and clean.
Yeah.
Looks
this
brand
part
new.
Looks amazing on it. Well, it's going to start slowing down a little bit with some of the updates and videos on this, because it's at the point now. Airplane noise. It's at the point now where I have to start buying some parts and components for it. I need to get some a back rim for it. I need 2 tires. I need tubes, rim strips, brakes, wheel bearings, and whatnot to make it a roller, which that's my ultimate goal by the middle of next month. And once it's rolling, I could get ready to put the engine inside here. And that's like home stretch. It's just the wiring at that point. But next, I think I'm just going to work on the fuel tank. That's probably the next cheapest thing that I can do. So, all right. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.